looking at the leading men. Miguel Angel Lopez finished third 2 years ago. This is the third edition of the European Racewalking Championships. I should say Racewalking Team Championships that have all been held here in this spectacular spa town of Podebrady, just 50 kilometers away from the Czechia capital. Here's a man who holds the European and world record at this distance. Massimo Stano, 2:23.14. There's many people thinking that he might be making a tilt at that during the course of the next 2.5 hours. And Christopher Linker, well, he's won many times here in Podebrady at the international event here that's held annually, and also was second 2 years ago behind Alvaro Martin. Well, Martin, he's retired now. It leaves it open for somebody else perhaps to take the honours at this European Racewalking Team Championships. And the man who will be leading the hopes of the local Czech team, Lavak. Lavak, very useful personal best of 2:32.50 as well. You can see there, 9th place in the European Championships in Munich. That was back in 2022. So on the start line, we've got 17 women from 9 nations, 33 men from 15 nations. Well, this is the third edition of the 35 kilometres on the programme for women. Only the second edition for the men, as we kept with the 50 kilometres race walk back in 2021. Now the big question is, can Stano get close to his world record time of 2:23.14 set in the World Championships in 2022? Can Perez do the same, having raced to a time of 2:37.15 here 2 years ago, almost to the day? So this is the Letsky Park in the very centre of this spa town. These athletes will do 35 laps of this 1 kilometre course. C to the 4. Already the German trio of Fretzel, Hilbert and Linker. Spaniards as well up there. Lopez, Manuel Bermudez, Daniel Chamosa and Marc Tour, a quartet from Spain. We're looking at laps. The leaders probably just outside 4 minutes. Women probably racing at about 4:30. Other people behind him. Italians packing well at the moment. This, of course, very early stages of this race. Amongst the leaders, Antonella Parmigiano, the 20-kilometre race walk champion, Olympic champion from 2021. She's making a debut at the distance, so there's a great deal of interest amongst the race walking fraternity to see how she goes. Eleanor Georgi, winner of the 50-kilometre race when it was on the programme in what was the European Race Walking Cup back in 2019. That cup, well, it dates its heritage all the way back to 1996. Good pace already from this leading group. Of course, during the course of the day, this is the first two events. Gold medals going in both individual and team competitions, although very much the emphasis is on the teams as well. We have at 11:25 local time, that's Central European time, 2 hours ahead of Universal Time, which used to be called GMT. 10 kilometre for women, under 20 women, coming up at 11:25. 12:35, it's the senior women's 20k. 14:45, the under 20 men's 10 kilometre race. And then the afternoon finishing off with the senior men's 20 kilometres. That comes up at 1600 local time. So just through on the first lap. There's Lopez up there, Stano up there. Most of the main protagonists. Linka just tucked in there in that group. 4:15. So pretty steady opening pace from the leading group. A leading group of 12 men. Not Tour tucked at the back as well. Well, Tour, another man who's had great success at these championships. And 4:42 for the leading women through the first lap, led through by Elena Giorgi. Quartet of Italians up the front. Maria Perez just at the back of that leading group. Just watching what the Italians are up to, no doubt. Shevchuk, who's got great credentials. Raquel Gonzalez, a silver medalist 2 years ago here as well, when the Spaniards took a clean sweep. Confirmation of the women through the first K. So Lopez pushing hard at this early stage of the race. Miguel Angel Lopez, now 36 years of age. He's the world champion over 20 kilometres a decade ago, back in 2015. Remember the race very well, laying down the gauntlet in Beijing to the favoured local athletes. See, tucked in there, the diminutive figure of Maria Perez. Stano, athlete the back of that pack. I'm not quite sure whether it was one of the men or the leading women who was given a warning. But, at this stage, that's just really an advisory that the judges are not happy with their technique. Two main reasons for disqualification. If you're a race walking aficionado, you'll know them already, but if you're just joining us and you're perhaps not totally familiar with the race walking rules, you can get disqualified for infractions with not having a straight leading leg, or not keeping permanent contact with the ground. So, as we were expecting, it's Lopez up there, Stano, Linka at this stage, all doing very well. There's Giorgi. Familiar sight with those sunglasses. Well, it's a little bit overcast in Podebrady this morning. We're expecting a little bit of rain later. So 8:21, so slightly quicker lap for Lopez. When they get to 5 kilometers, we'll have a fair assessment of what sort of pace they're at and whether Stano's world record is indeed under threat. So Georgi up front. A group like that is not abundantly clear who was getting the warnings. Still Lopez laying down the gauntlet to the rest of them. Lincoln looking very comfortable at the moment, so too Stano, slightly shaded by the rest of them. Ben Hilmer in there as well. Ben Hilmer already had one outing over 35 kilometers this year when he improved his personal best to 2:27:51 in Dudince, another famous race walking meeting in Central Europe, just over the border in the Slovak Republic. 12:26 for that leading group. 7 men at the moment. Yogi. Inside the Irishman, Joe Mooney. And there's a personal best over this 35k distance of 2:40:56. So comparable in terms of times with the likes of Georgi. Nice tracking back to the leading Czech walker, Lavach. Personal best of 2:32. I'm sure he'd like to improve on that in front of No doubt family and friends out there on this course. See there's some of the wonderful buildings in Podebrady. This town, well, it can date its origins back beyond the 15th century. First entered the maps and the local record books around the mid-1400s. Italy comfortably leading the way at the moment in the team competition. It was Spain that took the plaudits 2 years ago, winning the team competition. Italy silver. At the moment it's Italy doing very well at the front in the men's competition. So it's about 10 degrees out there at the moment, perhaps just fractionally cooler than they ideally would like it. 16:33 for Miguel Angel Lopez, still pushing the pace. That's a 4:13 kilometre. That's very, very good walking indeed. Georgi. Mooney alongside her. Looking well to her right to avoid any accusations of drafting. Nice shot there down the field. Two of the Italians there, as you just saw side by side. Massimo and Guppioni. And the men starting to lap the women, the leading men. Hilma. Now throwing down a bit of a challenge to Lopez. 20:42. So another quick 4:09 lap. Stano up there, Linker just drifting off the back a little bit. Cini, Raponi and Cerny bunched together as well. Some very good men being left in the shade by this very strong effort at this stage from Hilma and Lopez. Evan Dunphy setting a to be ratified world record of 2:21:40 in Budinsa back in March this year. There's the second place woman, Riazzi. Now very much a lead group of four from left to right as you're looking at them. Well, Miguel Angel Lopez leading the way at the front. Alongside him, Hilma as they turn the corner. Also up there, Christoph Linker and Massimo Stano. There's the trio behind them. That's Orsini, Guiponi, and the Slovak Walker Cerny. (24) 45 unofficially. That's a real injection of pace. That's a 4:03 lap. That is quick indeed. At the moment, these men are walking at around 224 to 225 pace. So we're first 5 kilometers completed. Now into 6 kilometers. Now into the 7th kilometer. Chamosa and Tour. A little bit surprised to see both the two Spaniards that far back. Linker's not really ever shown at the front, but he's such a quality athlete. You have to certainly give him a lot of respect. He's doing very, very well indeed at this stage. There's the chasing trio in 5th, 6th and 7th place. Oh, just look at that. We're only 6 kilometers into the race. And Georgi is already lapping women. Hilma still pushing the pace at the front. So 23 seconds now behind the medal contenders. This group of Orsini, Guaponi and Cerny. Here's the pair of Frenchmen racing together. Kevin Campion. Patriot Oriendikinon. So far red cards to Suscavicius and Tour for technical infringements. Still Georgi flying around the circuit. The way she's going, she's looking for a big improvement on her personal best. There's Maria Perez now. Starting to pull back a little bit of the deficit. Palmisano, very familiar figure. As far as I can see, not wearing any of her usual flowers in her hair. Colombini alongside her. And Perez just at the back of that three-woman group. Interlead with some of the men as well at each. Colombini, perhaps the less known of the quartet of Italians in the top five. 2 times national champion over 10 kilometers. Podebrady, of course, a fantastic history with regards to race walking. First major competition here held more than 120 years ago. So Georgi. Still Georgi very much in control of the women's race at the moment. Lopez, well, he's looking to claw back the deficit on Hilma. Hilma having just gone past Georgi. Lopez is starting to push Motor a little bit. Stano following him. Linker, familiar, tall, long striding figure of the German. On your TV screens, this might just look like it's a stroll in the park on an early Sunday morning, but you need to get up close and personal with these guys to realise how quickly they're moving. So that's the men's team competition. Not a great deal in it at this stage. Italy leading the way with 16. Spain 22, Germany a little bit further back at 36. So that's the 1, 2, 3 from 2 years ago, just in a very slightly different order. On that occasion it was Spain who took the honours. There's Georgi, now starting to break away from her Irish shadow. Jo Mooney, who was with her for the first 8.5 kilometres. But the man in green now unable to keep pace with Eleonora Georgi. Georgi did win when this was the European Race Walking Cup, the 50-kilometre event back in 2019. Lopez leading the chasing trio, but there's now a 19-second gap between the men in second, third and fourth, who are in single file behind Mahir Ben Hilma. 40.46 at 10 kilometres for the pole. So 19 seconds between Ben Hilma and the man you're looking at the moment, Miguel Angel Lopez. Stano, the Olympic 20-kilometre champion in 2021, back in third now. Georgi, now 35 years of age, competes for the Fiamma Azzurri club. She's really blossomed in the last few years. Modest beginnings on the international stage. Finished back in 18th as an under-20 athlete at the 2009 World Under-20 Championships. Has since carried on improving and improving. So doing a quick bit of math, that's even inside 240 pace, just inside 240. Well, we've had our first man into the sin bin. Susavicius, the Lithuanian, wasn't expected to be a major contender, but he'll have a time penalty. men there, including Hilmer, the race leader, having got their first red cards. 3 red cards and you end up with a time penalty, and a 4th red card means you're disqualified. And Lopez starting to push hard at the moment. So 48-46 after 12 laps, 12 kilometres for Mahir Ben Hilmer. Seven seconds in arrears for Lopez as Stano and Linker go through the line after 12 kilometres, so more than a third of the race undergone now. Now a huge 37-second gap back to Maria Perez, who's now consolidated her position in second place. There's Ben Hilmer flying away at the moment. Well, this is an outstanding race from this pole. This really is having the best race of his life at the moment. So 13 kilometres, 52.46. Yeah, let's see how far behind the likes of these men, Lopez, Stano and Linker are. They're really working hard not to lose contact with Hilmer. 32 seconds gap. Gap hasn't significantly grown on that last lap. So some pleasantries, perhaps a joke or two exchange between the Czech and Ukrainian walkers. Moravec. The emerging talents in European race walking, as you can see from the caption there. 7th 2 years ago at the European Under-23 Championships. Lopez is pulling away from the Hungarian woman, Victoria Madarash, who is a bronze medalist at European Championships in 2022. Lopez doing well. Here. Ben Hilmer coming through. 56.45. At 14 kilometers. So he'll go through 15 kilometers in just over the hour. Now, has Lopez managed to claw back any of the deficit? No, but he hasn't lost anything really either at the moment. Miguel Angel Lopez, 38 seconds in arrears. Man who won the 20 kilometers back in 2015 under its former guise of the European Race Walking Cup. Also a couple of silver medals to his name. Stano and Linker starting to drift a little bit away from Lopez over the course of that last kilometre. Now 9 seconds in arrears. This is a really good effort though from Hilmer at the front. Still worth noting though, we're not even halfway into this race though. We'll come up at 17.5 kilometres. Perez clearly starting to reel in Georgi at the moment. Just reflecting on that 15k time from Ben Hilmer, 1 hour and 43 seconds. You can just do the math there. He's set to absolutely smash his Polish record of 2:27 if he can keep that up. He's had a fairly modest major championship record. Qualified in the World Juniors back in 2008 and didn't really appear at a major international competition until the European Championships last year in Rome, where he took 7th place in the 20-kilometer walk. Went on to finish 29th over 20 kilometers in Paris. So, Mahir Ben Hilmer definitely having the greatest day of his race walking career. Hails from Lodz. That was a real injection of the pace though over that last kilometre. Now 45 seconds between himself and Miguel Angel Lopez. Lopez himself is looking good for a personal best at this pace. Still Ben Hilmer coming up, about to complete 16 kilometres, 1:04:46. Another very, very quick lap indeed from Ben Hilmer. Although he's picked up a second red card there. I didn't notice that before. Just looking at my own information that he's had a second red card, so needs to tread literally and metaphorically very carefully now. Although there is now a 1 minute and 1 second gap between him and Miguel Angel Lopez. The group battling for the bronze medal at the moment. The 3 Italians, Colombi, Palmisano, and the woman who for so long in the race was in second place. Coriazzi. Well, Georgi looking absolutely peerless at the moment. Hilmer bearing down on her, but 2 separate races, of course. There's the chasing group. 3 Italians. Also should say that Hannah Shevchuk is in there as well. Haven't really seen very much of her. Got up into the medal positions a couple of kilometres ago. Right, shot there of the men's and women's leaders alongside each other. Ben Hilmer just passing Georgi. For the second time in this race. .58.51 at 17 kilometres for Ben Hilmer. Stano now. Well, Stano's come through strongly. Well, Stano on that last lap, didn't really see very much of it, has just overhauled Miguel Angel Lopez. Stano perhaps can sense that his second place might well suffice for victory if Ben Hilmer transgresses once again. Ben Hilmer, 2 red cards to his name. I can tell you, Chioppioni a bit further back in 7th place has also now got 2 red cards. So Ben Hilmer at the front. And as it stands at the moment, 43 seconds and counting ahead of Massimo Stano, but he's got 2 red cards, so he's got to be careful now. He's still roughly at the halfway point in the race. So he's got a lot of thinking to do, has Mahir Ben Hilmer. Does he try and just race a bit more conservatively over the next few kilometres? Risk the chance of Massimo Stano and Miguel Angel Lopez reeling him in. Also, Christoph Lineker, wouldn't count him out either at this stage. Linker. He's a multiple winner in Podebrady at the famous annual event, which this year incorporates the European Race Walking Team Championships, won in 2015 and 2017 over 20 kilometres. Most recent champion is Perseus Karlström, three-time winner. We'll see Karlström in action in the 20-kilometre event later on today. Hilmer through 18 kilometres. We've now passed the halfway point in 1:12:56. Stano 41 seconds in arrears. Lopez 5 seconds further back. Linker 8 seconds. I should say 7 seconds behind Stano.
Earlier this year. So this sub-4-minute pace is no problem for him. He's starting to close that gap just by a few seconds. 1 hour 13:37 for the Italian. 5 seconds back. Lopez is in third. Just 2 seconds back for Lopez. Christopher Linker in fourth.
Well, Georgi decided not to take on any. Oh, she is taking on some liquids. Oh, she missed it. Not quite sure what she had there in her hand, but just took a quick sip and threw it away. Might have been a gel bar, perhaps. Certainly, gel bars useful over 35 kilometres. There's Perez. I have to say, Perez looks as though she's closing with every stride. Georgi starting to look a little tired. Perez, still marvellous technique. She said a few years ago she struggled with her technique and had to go back and almost tear apart the way that she was race walking. She's come through now, and she really is one of the finest women's race walkers we've ever seen. Stano now working hard in second place. 40 seconds behind Hilmer though. Roughly 2:24 pace for Stano, and the two men immediately behind him, Linker and Lopez. Linker and Lopez at the moment, just about on personal best pace. This man at the moment looking set to shatter his own Polish record and perhaps challenge the European record of Massimo Stano, the man in second place at the moment. As I've said, he's on 2 red cards, so he's really committed himself over this first 19 kilometres.
change again in the men's 35k. Just to look at a move past into third place.
Still striding out as the sun starts to rise just a little bit and the clouds disappear over Czech Republic. Now, 1:21:06. Wait, I should say. So that was a 4:06 kilometre he's just thrown in.
So if you're looking for a qualifying time, the men need to go through 1 hour 24:34 to be on pace. The women 1 hour 36 to hit that 2 hour 48 qualifying time. So Stano is 34 seconds back now, 6 seconds off Leader's lead.
This is some race walking from Mahir Ben Hilma. If you add together his 20 kilometre and his 15 kilometre times to get a 35 kilometre time, he's on 2:21:30 pace. I'm not sure he can keep that up through the rest of this race. There's another 15 kilometres still to go, but it is still mightily impressive at this stage. There's Stano. Stano's starting to close a little bit though. And Stano, of course, does know how to race this distance. He's the European record holder at 2:23:14, which he set at those World Championships in Eugene in 2022. There's Kuriatsi just drifting off the back of that three-person group, battling for the bronze medal at the moment. And up front. And this is the moment where Maria Perez moves to the front and overtakes Eleonora Georgi. And Perez is laying down the gauntlet now, starting to just gently pull away from the long-time race leader, Eleonora Georgi. Well, this is lap 19 for the women. And Hilma well, 1:25:15. That's a 4:07 lap. He's still really flying, no doubt at all about that. Stano now 28 seconds back, so he is reeling in Ben Hilma, and there's still plenty of this race still to go. Linker's come through. Where's Lopez? Lopez has struggled on that last kilometre. 22 kilometres, 1:29:26. So that's a 4:09 lap. But Stano was lapping even quicker and has reduced the deficit to 14 seconds now. Linker, another 14 seconds further back, and then Lopez. What a magnificent course this is. Through this Ski Park. It's been the venue for so many great race walking performances. 5 world records in Podebrady over the years, including Maria Perez's 35-kilometre race walk 2 years ago. Stano racing so confidently, so comfortably. Just see Christoph Lineker coming around the turn. There's Lopez starting to just look a little bit of tired, falling out of the medal positions. Starting to lose a little bit of contact with Linker in front of him. So there, a couple of the Spaniards further back, almost a lap behind Hilmer. Spain still in second place in the team competition behind Italy at the moment. Confirmation of the standings. A few more men go through the start and finish line. Cerny of Slovak Republic having an excellent race in 5th place now, ahead of the 2 Italians, Orsini and Guiponi. Hilmer, 23 kilometres completed. That was the 4:10 lap, just very slightly slowing. As you can see, there's Stano now, right up on his shoulder. Stano's runner, if you'll pardon the metaphor, a much more conservative race, but he's coming through so strongly in the last couple of kilometres. As I said, the man who really knows how to race 35 kilometres. Linker, 23 seconds behind Hilmer at this stage. Lopez drifting back a bit further. So, Georgi, the
Massimo Stano ai poprvé, co se řekl Italo dostal do čela průběžně klasifikace, takže na 14 km.
so you've had another disqualification as well. Gavink of Turkey has been disqualified after picking up 4 red cards. So 15 women still in this race though. Several of them at the back, like the Greeks, Fiaska and Kurukutsaki. 3 and 4 laps in arrears. Still very much at the front. It's Eleonora Georgi being chased down by Maria Perez. Stano now, 15-second lead over Ben Hilmer. 24 kilometres undertaken. Linker still hanging in there. Linker, I think he'll have in his sights perhaps getting up to Hilmer. Linker, of course, a man who's got talent across all the race walking distances. Stano now. He's the European record holder, as I've said on a few occasions. That European record set when he finished 3rd in UG. There's Ben Hilmer. Well, definitely cadence, his shoulders have dropped ever so slightly. Lopez in 4th place at the moment, the veteran Spaniard who's won so many major international honours, been on the podium of so many international races. And there's Eleonora Georgi. I wonder if she knew what had been happening behind her. Well, she would have seen Perez disappear into the toilets, but she was unable to take significant advantage from it. Oof. Perez just avoiding getting tangled up with the barriers there. Trying to take the closest line and almost ended up clipping the barriers and banging his arm. And Perez now almost back alongside Georgi once again. You just see the leading men going through 25 kilometres, 1:41:24. So this is still really good pace. This is European record pace, looking at around 2:22 and change at the moment. Where's Hilmer? Hilmer might well have had to have Yes, Hilmer's picked up a third red card, I should say. So he's got a time penalty. Seemed to be on the cards, to be honest, with the way that he was walking, but didn't want to be too judgmental. Has had the effect of Linker and Lopez moving up into the silver and bronze medal positions. There's Eleanor Georgi. So we're looking at some terrific finishing times. I'm sure we're going to see a whole spate of personal bests. These are almost perfect conditions for good race walking. Sun's come out a little bit. It's morning sun in Podebrady. There is a forecast for a little bit of light rain later on as well. But for the moment, that's staying away. Race walkers won't mind that too much. Certainly not at 35 kilometres. Saw Mark Tur go through there. Former 50-kilometre winner of the European Race Walking Cup. Eleonora Georgi starting to just grimace and puff and pant a little bit. But this is a superb display of tactical race walking. So this is the leader in the men's race. On the 27th kilometre now. So just about 7.5 kilometres to the finish. Eight and a half kilometres to the finish, I should say. Stano, over the course of the last 5 kilometres, has really made his mark. Come through so strongly. Got up on the shoulder of the early leader, Ben Hilmer. Overtook him. Hilmer hit with a time penalty. And it's this man in second place now, Christopher Linker. Again, Angel Lopez in third. Don't get confused with the Spaniards in front of him. That's David Chamosa. He's one lap behind. He's back down in 9th place. And here's Ben Hilmer back in the race after that 3.5-minute time penalty. He's now down back in 8th place at the moment. More than 4 minutes behind the leader. The man who overtook the lead from him just a couple of laps ago. So Stano, 27 kilometres, 1:49.12. So just 8 kilometres to go for Massimo Stano. Can he maintain his form and cadence? Can he keep going at, well, an absolutely tremendous clip around the Letsky Park? Lapping in just over 4-minute pace. There's Christopher Linker though. Worth bearing in mind Linker's German record 2:24.40. That could be under threat, even though he's a minute and 3 seconds in arrears of Stano. Stano at the moment though, looking as though he's going to take down his own European record. Miguel Angel Lopez. Well, Alvaro Martin has the Spanish record at 2:24.30. Probably a little bit outside of his grasp at the moment, but he's still looking at a place on the podium. Indeed, Cantolio, as you probably saw by the pictures there, there are some similarities. Palmarzano, the Italian, has moved up into second place, and indeed Shevchuk has gone past the tiring Georgi. So there's certain similarities between the men's and the women's races, with audacious early leaders now starting to be overhauled in this second half of the race as we get towards the closing third of the race. You can see there Palmarzano with that back shot, moving away from Shevchuk and Georgi. There's Maria Perez. Doing absolutely the right thing. Staying so close to the quickest line. So they link her in shot. Linkers about 4 kilometers ahead of Maria Perez on this course. There's Georgi. Sunglasses up on her head. Palmarzano though, very focused. This is really interesting. This is a debut. Oh, Shevchuk looks as though she just... don't know quite what happened there with Shevchuk. Perhaps hit a curb, or suddenly looked as though she might have been a little bit ill. See what's happened there. Well, no sign of Shevchuk. It's looking as though it's Georgi back in. There's Palmarzano. Colombi. 4:26 from Perez. She's really pouring it on now. I think we're going to have to start looking at the clock because, well, Georgi in the opening stages of the race was on around 2:40, 2:41 pace, but certainly Maria Perez now has upped it. I'm just wondering whether she's left herself just a little bit too much to do to challenge her own world record, but it's quite clear she's chosen this stage for a real push and a really good effort. Not just to take this European Race Walking Team Championships crown, but perhaps also to challenge her own world record. That's the early leader, Ben Ilmer, in shot, but it's not going to be a factor anymore, I don't think, as far as the medals are concerned. Krzysztof Linka. Doing his best, starting to just look a bit tired. Well, it's no surprise. It's probably around 27 minutes more of racing to go, 28. Yeah, Angel Lopez doing a terrific job though, just holding his form, having got detached from Linka a couple of kilometers ago. Just very focused. There's Miguel Angel Lopez. He's been a winner at this competition in the past, or at least its forebear. He's now just under 2 minutes behind Massimo Stano. And Linka starting to lose a little bit of contact as well with Stano. Stano flying though at the moment. So Stano just a little bit inside his European record pace. This could be very interesting indeed. There's discussions about the fact that he might be up for challenging the world record, but probably a little bit outside of that. But he's in such fine form at the moment, Stano. He's urging the crowd on. He wants the crowd to give him some acknowledgement. 2:05. Sorry, I should say 2 hours and 57 seconds. So he's lapped in under 4 minutes. That was a 3:54 lap there, as he really is powering it on now. He's over a minute ahead of his nearest challenger, Christopher Linker. Almost 2 minutes ahead of the bronze medalist. As the things stand in the race at the moment, Miguel Angel Lopez. It's going to be a little while before anybody else comes through the 30-kilometer checkpoint. And maybe the world record is on if he can carry on upping his pace and coming around in under 20. Sorry, just getting a little bit tongue-tied. Coming around in under 4-minute laps over this kilometre. And just think about that, 4-minute laps. That's 1:20 for 20 kilometres. Here's Maria Perez. Well, she's close to record form herself. She's leaving everybody else in her dust. And they're in second and third place at the moment. We need to look where Coriazzi now is. 3 to score. So this is Massimo Stano. 2:04.52. And the gap between Stano and Linker is growing and growing. Well, as things stand at the moment, this is an attack on the world record. Stano is increasing the pace. He's just done caught 2 laps inside 4 minutes. Can he maintain that rhythm through to the finish? All eyes now should be on Massimo Stano. 32 kilometres, 2:08.50. So another 4-minute lap. Less than 3 kilometres to go. And it looks as though Stano is on course for a world record now, having really increased his pace over the last 4 or 5 kilometres. It was a perfectly paced race from Stano. Can he hold his focus now? Less than 3 kilometres to go. Well, there is rumours around social media that Stano was in great form and coming here to attack a world record. He himself was a little bit more cautious about that. Italy very much in pole position in the men's team race as well. Italy 12 points, 10 points ahead of Spain, the 2023 winners, and Germany, bronze medalists 2 years ago, and in the bronze medal position once again. Helped by no considerable margin by the man you're looking at the back of there, Christopher Linker. Now 2 minutes difference between Linker and Stano, but Linker could still get a national record for Germany. And this will certainly revise, if they carry on at this sort of pace, the European all-time list, without a doubt. Massimo Stano just about to go through the line and see 2 kilometers to go very shortly. That's the 32-kilometer mark. Needs to go through the finish line in 2:13 or thereabouts to stand a chance of the world record. It's looking good at the moment for Massimo Stano. 2:12.49, and there's just 2 kilometers to go. The world record is now very definitely on. That was a 3:57 kilometer. He's got plenty in the bank. If he keeps on going like this, he's going to be the first man ever to go under 2:21 for this 35-kilometer race walk. Well, we saw a world record 2 years ago here in Podebrady. This could be world record number 6 in the history of this great race walking mecca. Mark Tour we saw there, having also had to spend time in the sin bin, serve a 3.5-minute penalty. That will have dented Spain's chances of taking the gold. They're still comfortably in the silver medal position at the moment. There's the solitary Briton in this race, Cameron Kirbishley. Now, Stano just about to overtake Kirbishley. Reigning 35-kilometer champion in Britain. There's Linker. Linker just about to come through the line. So Linker now over 2 minutes in arrears of Massimo Stano. Nevertheless, Linker, I make it, could well be on course for a German record as well. Could well be shaving quite a few seconds off his record of 2:24.40. Inca set that record recently in Dudinsa back in March. If he can carry on lapping like this, he could take anything up to half a minute off that time. Miguel Angel Lopez, well, Lopez has a personal best of 2:25.58, and he could well be close to that as well, the venerable Spaniard. But there's no doubt at all, this man is absolutely dominating this race now. And he'll know that a world record is on. Nice shot there of him bearing down on Maria Perez. Perez comfortably in the lead, although not by quite as big a margin as Massimo Stano, but Perez has definitely got control of the women's race as well. Stano, 2:16.46. So a 3:59 lap. Stano now, this could be a kilometre that takes him to the world record. There's Miguel Angel Lopez, he's in third place at the moment, over 2 minutes behind Stano. And Lopez, well, once again, it's not the first time he's almost seemingly just been about to clatter into those railings. Long shot there on the far side of the park. As we can see, Massimo Stano now. He's about 2.5 minutes away from not just gold at this European Race Walking Team Championships, but a world record as well. Just keep the time in mind. 2:21. Just to confirm, 2:21.40 of Evan Dunphy in Dudinsa, that race I mentioned. There we go, world record. The reason why you're seeing two world records is Kawano's is the ratified world record. Dunphy's is still subject to ratification. Now that's certainly going to be minutes taken off the European record. It's looking very much like it's a gold record. A world record. Gold medal winning performance though from Massimo Stano. Less than 2 minutes to the line for Massimo Stano. Well, we've been focusing on Stano, but Maria Perez very much in control of the women's race as well, as you can see. Went through 30 kilometres in 2:16.45. So Maria Perez on around 2:39 pace, but all the attention is on this man now. The seconds are ticking away, but he's only 100 metres or so from the line. This is going to be a world record performance for Massimo Stano. Stano turning the very last corner in Letsky Park. Stano, big grin on his face now. salutes the crowd, and it's going to be a world record by almost a minute. Massimo Stano smashes the world record. Italy's 2021 Olympic champion becomes a world record holder in 2025. Massimo Stano, 2:20.43. A huge 57 seconds off the world record. Well, what more can you say about Massimo Stano? He's got world titles, Olympic titles, and now he's got a world record to his name as he takes the applause of an absolutely delighted crowd at the finish line in Letsky Park. Well, that world record wasn't on for the first 20 kilometres or so, as we had Mahir Ben Hilma race away, but then Stano showed he's an absolute master of just about everything you can throw at him, every distance in race walking, coming through so strongly over the course of the final 15 kilometres. Well, we're still waiting. Nearly 2 minutes have elapsed. Here's the man in second place, Christopher Linker, just about to come through. Well, might well be good reason to wave that German flag very shortly. Just waiting for confirmation of the silver medalist. But gold and a world record goes to Massimo Stano. Here's Christopher Linker. I think he's on course for a German record. He's got the flag. He knows he's in the silver medal position. He's looking very tired over this last kilometre. But Linker doing a fabulous job of just holding his form, maintaining his concentration. He's got a couple more turns to go. This is a superb course for fast race walking, as we've seen so often in the past. And if you were with us 2 years ago, you'll have seen a women's world record over this 35 kilometres. Well, today you've seen a men's world record. And the last corner for Linker. He's going to break his own German national record in second place by more than a minute. Just keep focused right the way to the line. It's a German record and a silver medal for Christopher Linker. Well, there is nothing he could do to keep in touch with Massimo Stano once Stano started motoring over the last 7 or 8 kilometres and that world record started to come into sight. And that's the rubber chicken. I think that is the rubber chicken that Alvaro Martin took across the line at the last European Championships, European Race Walking Team Championships. But Miguel Angel Lopez, it's a bit of a team mascot, that. It's seen the rounds. You'll have seen it if you're a race walking aficionado on various other occasions. But Miguel Angel Lopez manages to hold his form and take a Spanish national record as well, smashing Alvaro Martin's national record. So 2:23.48 for Miguel Angel Lopez. What a fantastic race. World record, national record, national record. And here's that final few meters. He knows the world record is his, but he's still powering his way through to the line, reducing the world record by no less than 57 seconds. Well, unbelievably, Massimo Stano seems barely out of breath. Then applause from the vanquished men who will also stand on the podium with him a little bit later, Miguel Angel Lopez and Christopher Linker, but both of them rewarded with national records. Superb performances all the way around.